In the heart of a busy city, where the streets were always full of life and the air buzzed with energy, tall buildings stretched up to the sky. The sound of laughter and the cooking of street vendors filled the air. The spicy smell of jollof rice mixed with the chatter of people and the hustle of the crowd. It was a city full of stories, dreams, and struggles. A place where, even in the busiest times, there was a sense of hope and connection. In this lively city, there lived a young woman named Zainab. Though the city was huge, she had a way of making it feel like home for everyone she met. Her small apartment was cozy. It had soft pillows and smelled nice like flowers. It felt like home. After school, Zainab called Julian her boyfriend. He lived far away in America. Julian was funny and kind. They talked every night about their dreams, but sometimes Julian worried Zainab helped people too much. Zainab had a friend named Ijeoma. Ijeoma's parents were gone, so Zainab gave her money and food, but Ijeoma was quiet. One day after school, Zainab walked home. She was tired from classes. Then she saw a crowd near the school hostels. People were talking loudly. Some were upset. Zainab got closer to see what was wrong. The school admin stood by a pile of bags on the ground. No money, no room, she said. Zainab saw Ijoma sitting by the bags. Her face looked sad. The school said Ijoma didn't pay for living space. She had no place to stay. Zainab's heart felt heavy. She wanted to help Ijoma, but Julian's words stayed in her head. Don't bring anyone to the house. But when Ijoma looked at her with sad eyes, Zainab knew she couldn't walk away. Zainab couldn't let Ijoma stay on the street. Her heart was too big. She called her brother Tunde, who lived nearby. Can Ijoma stay with you? She asked, just for a little while. Tunde refused at first, but agreed. Okay, Zainab, you're too kind. You know that, right? Zainab smiled. Tunde came with his car and picked Ijoma and Zainab up. They went to Tunde's house. It was big and warm. Ijoma looked around, her eyes wide. Thank you, she whispered, but her voice sounded quiet, like she was holding something back. At night, Zainab couldn't sleep. She called Julian. She told him about Ijoma. I had to help her, she said. She had nowhere to go and I couldn't leave her there. Julian's voice was soft but worried. Zainab, you're too good. Be careful, okay? I don't want you to get hurt. I'll be fine, Zainab said, but her heart felt heavy. She didn't like making Julian worry, and she knew these were the kind of things that make him worry. Every evening, Zainab visited Ijoma at Tunde's house. They talked and laughed. Ijoma started to smile more, but sometimes she stared at Zainab when she's sure no one was looking. Zainab kept visiting Ijoma. They cooked together, shared stories, and became like sisters. Zainab felt happy seeing Ijoma happy. One day, Zainab decided to introduce Ijoma to Julian. She put Julian on speaker so Ijoma could hear. Hi Julian, Ijoma said, her voice bright. Too bright, Zainab thought. But Julian laughed and they all talked like friends. Zainab felt better. Maybe everything was okay. One beautiful evening, Zainab thought she was going to dinner with Tunde and Ijoma. They drove to a pretty restaurant with soft lights and music. Zainab smiled, happy to be with her brother and friend. But when they walked inside, her heart stopped. Julian stood there, holding a small box. He wasn't supposed to be here, she thought. He was in America. How come? Zainab's eyes got big. Her mouth opened but no words came out. The room was full of family and friends, all smiling at her. Zainab, Julian said, his voice soft and warm. He walked closer and held her hand and gave a long speech professing his love for her. And finally, he popped the question, will you marry me? Tears filled Zainab's eyes. She felt like she was floating. Yes, she said, her voice shaky but full of joy. Julian slipped a shining ring on her finger. Everyone clapped and cheered. Tunde hugged her and Ijeoma smiled, but her eyes looked strange, like she wasn't so happy as she seemed. Zainab didn't notice. She was too happy holding Julian's hand, dreaming of their future together. Weeks passed. Zainab and Julian planned their wedding. They wanted a big happy day with family and friends. Julian sent money for Zainab's dresses and gifts for her family. He even sent gifts for Ijeoma. For your friend, he said. Zainab smiled. But when she gave Ijeoma the gifts, Ijeoma pretended to like them. One day, as Zainab was talking to Julian about how Ijeoma had started to feel like family, she asked, do you think it's okay if Ijeoma moves in with me? To Zainab's surprise, Julian didn't hesitate. Yes, of course, he said. You've known her long enough, and I trust you. It would be nice having someone around, and it would be good change for you. So just like that, Ijoma moved into Zainab's one-bedroom apartment. It was cozy. They shared the same space, laughing as they cooked and talked. They did practically everything together, going to school, coming back home, everything they did together. But when Zainab spoke about Julian, Ijoma's face changed. Her eyes got dark and her smile was tight. Zainab, who wasn't looking, never saw how Ijeoma's hatred for her grew with each passing day. The wedding plans got busier. Zainab picked flowers, dresses, venue, and food for the big day. Julian called every now and then to help. One evening he said, Zainab, let's buy a new house for us. After the wedding, we would live there together. You will choose it. I want you to select what you love. Zainab's heart danced. Really? I can pick? Yes, Julian laughed. Anything for you, my love. Ijoma was in the room listening. Her hands clenched tight. Her face looked hard, like she was angry. In fact, she was angry. Zainab didn't see, but the air felt heavy. A week before the wedding, Julian came back. Zainab and Ijoma went to the airport to meet him. The sun was bright and the air felt warm with excitement. Zainab's heart jumped. She couldn't wait to see Julian. When Julian walked out, Zainab ran to hug him, but Ijeoma got there first. She wrapped her arms around Julian, laughing loudly. Zainab stopped, her smile fading. Ijeoma's hug felt too awkward, and there was a strange smell. It wasn't sweet, but it wasn't too bad either, like a strange perfume scent. She shook her head and hugged Julian next. You're here, she said, trying to smile. Julian grinned. I miss you, Zainab. But his eyes flickered to Ijoma, just for a moment. Zainab felt a funny twist in her stomach because the scent was too unbearable for her. They went to the new house Julian bought. It was big, with a shining pool and soft beds. The walls smelled like fresh paint. Zainab loved it, but something felt off. When Julian came close, she stepped back. She didn't know why. If he sat on the couch, she moved to a chair. If he went upstairs, she stayed downstairs. The air felt heavy, like a storm was coming. That night, Ijoma was quiet. She watched them from a distance with a smirk on her face. I'm tired, she said, going up to her room with an evil smile. Zainab nodded, but her heart felt uneasy. The next day, Julian asked, Zainab, are you okay? You're acting strange. Zainab looked down. I don't know. I just need time. She didn't want to say it, but being near Julian felt wrong. I'll go back to my old apartment for a bit, she said. Julian frowned. Okay, if that's what you need, we'll talk soon. Zainab went back to her cozy one bedroom with Ijeoma. She called Julian when she got home, but their talks felt short, not warm like before. Ijeoma was always nearby, listening. Her face was soft this time, very happy she seemed. The next morning, when Zainab woke up, she decided to treat herself. She needed a spa day to calm her nerves and, most importantly, to focus on preparing for the wedding. It was time to get her hair done. For weeks, her hair had been a tangled mess between the wedding plans, stress, and everything else going on. She had just packed it up, wore a cap, and ignored it. She couldn't remember the last time she actually took the time to care for herself. She brushed her teeth, took a quick shower, and headed straight to the salon in simple, comfortable clothes. When she arrived, she sat down in the chair, pulled out her phone, and started chatting with Julian. Everything seemed fine. She was just catching up on some text when she noticed a few people in the salon whispering after her cap was removed. At first, she thought nothing of it, but then she glanced into the mirror. What she saw made her heart stop. Half of her hair was bald, exactly half, shaved clean, as if someone had deliberately cut it into half in her sleep. Zainab stared at her reflection in shock, her mind spinning. How did this happen? How could she have not noticed? She covered her head quickly, embarrassed, her cheeks flushed with confusion and anger. She didn't know what to think. She grabbed her things, left the salon in a hurry, and headed straight home. Her mind raced, her heart pounding in her chest. Ijeoma, Zainab shouted, bursting into the apartment. What happened to my hair? We sleep in the same room and on the same bed. Did you see anything? Ijeoma's eyes went wide. I did not see anything. Oh. I don't know anything, she said quickly. Maybe it's stress. You've been so busy. Zainab's heart raised. She didn't believe Ijeoma. No, this isn't stress. Something is wrong. What do you mean by stress? Does stress make somebody's hair fall off like this? Something is not right. Something is wrong. The wedding was close, but nothing felt right anymore. Zainab was furious, hurt, and confused all at once. How could this have happened? She didn't even know how to begin processing it. She felt betrayed by something she couldn't explain. She was upset with herself, upset with everyone, and above all, just lost. She called Julian immediately. Julian, something is wrong. I don't know what's going on. Julian, trying to calm her down, assured her that they would figure it out together. Zainab, we'll get to the bottom of this. Everything is going to be okay. Just breathe, okay? Zainab wasn't comforted. She spent the rest of the day at home, hiding her bald spot with a scarf and crying, feeling completely out of control of her own life. What was happening? Why was everything falling apart now, right before the wedding? Things took another strange turn. Zainab realized that more than 20 hours ago, Julian had neither called nor texted her. It was completely unlike him. Normally, they would talk several times a day, but now he was silent. She decided to give him some time. A whole day went by. 2 days he hadn't called nor texted. Zainab couldn't wait anymore. She went to the new house to see Julian, but when she arrived, she was shocked. Zainab opened the door without hesitation, expecting to find Julian waiting for her, just like he had always did, and give an explanation for why he hadn't called nor texted. But when she stepped inside, he looked at her as if he had never seen her before. "Who are you?" Julian asked, his voice cold and distant. "What are you doing in my house? How did you enter?" Zainab blinked, her mind racing. What was going on? She felt like the ground had been ripped from under her feet. "Julian, it's me, Zainab," she whispered, confused. "We have been planning our wedding, remember?" He shook his head, a look of complete unfamiliarity on his face. "I don't know you. I've never seen you before. Please get out of my house." Zainab's heart pounded in her chest, panic rising. "What are you talking about? This is my house too. This is our house. We were supposed to get married. In fact, in 4 days. What is this? Why are you acting like this, Julian? Before she could react, he grabbed her arm and shoved her out of the door. I said, "Get out," he yelled, slamming the door behind her. He opened it again and asked for the key. In fact, he said, "I will change the house key, don't bother. And please stop going around breaking into people's house." Zainab stood frozen on the door. She didn't know how to process what had just happened. Was this some kind of sick joke? She felt like she was losing her grip on reality. Was this really Julian, the man she had loved and trusted for so long? This wasn't the man she knew. With trembling hands, she walked away, her body numb with shock, after standing there for what seemed like an eternity. Zainab barely made it home before the floodgates of her emotions opened. She went straight to Ijeoma, looking for comfort, but also desperate for answers. Ijeoma, Zainab said, her voice shaky. "Something is wrong, Julian. He didn't know me. He told me to leave his house, like I was a stranger. What's happening? What's going on with him? Before it was me, now it's him. I'm scared." Ijeoma was sitting on the couch, her eyes wide. She said something under her breath, not knowing that Zainab heard her. She said, "You haven't seen anything." Zainab froze, her heart skipping a beat. She had heard it. The words echoed in her mind. "You haven't seen anything yet." What did Ijeoma mean by that? Zainab's confusion quickly turned into anger. She turned to face Ijeoma. "What did you just say?" she demanded. Ijeoma quickly turned her head, trying to hide her surprise. I I didn't mean anything," Ijeoma stammered, but Zainab wasn't buying it. "No," Zainab said, her voice firm now. "What do you mean by you haven't seen anything? What's going on, Ijeoma?" Ijeoma's face fell, and for a moment it seemed like she was about to deny everything. But then the truth spilled out of her mouth in a rush. "Yes, yes, I did it. I had to." Zainab's heart sank as the words registered in her mind. "What are you talking about? What did you do? What did you have to do?" Ijeoma, for the first time, was bold. "You think you've had it all figured out, Zainab. You think you're the one he loves, and I couldn't watch him be with you anymore." Zainab's words spun around her. She felt betrayed, deceived by someone she had once trusted completely. "I don't believe this. You've been behind all this along. What did you do to Julian? What did you make him do?" Ijeoma's laughter echoed through the room like a wicked haunting sound that sent chills down Zainab's spine. It wasn't just any laugh. It was an evil laugh, one that seemed to reflect everything that had been brewing inside her. Ijeoma's voice turned colder, each word dripping with venom. "Why, Zainab? Why must it be you?" Zainab could barely comprehend the hatred in her voice. But before she could say anything, Ijeoma continued, her eyes wide with fury. "You see, I went to a seer," Ijeoma said, a sinister glint in her eyes. "The seer told me your future is bright. You have a bright star. And I couldn't let that happen. I must frustrate you, Zainab. You will never marry. Not Julian, not anyone. Your future will never be bright. You will never see happiness." Zainab stood frozen, the words hitting her like a train that fell break. She couldn't understand. She had trusted Ijeoma. She had cared for her. She had treated her like a sister. And now this? She did not know where the hatred was coming from. "Do you remember at the airport when I hugged him first?" Ijeoma smirked, the truth finally spilling from her. "I charmed him. He doesn't even know you. I did that. And he never will. It was all me." Zainab's world came crashing down in that moment. Everything she had believed in, her relationship with Julian, her trust in Ijeoma, the dreams she had for her future, was shattered beyond repair. Ijeoma had played her all along, manipulating her feelings, leading her to believe she was loved, while she was nothing more than a pawn in Ijeoma's twisted game. Shocked and broken, Zainab left the house, her mind spinning with the revelations she had just heard. She couldn't bear to be in that house for another second. The weight of the betrayal felt suffocating. She immediately went to her brother's house and poured out everything she had heard. Her brother, already protective of her, was furious. Without wasting any time, he rushed to her house, but by the time he got there, Ijeoma was gone. Everything that had once been hers was gone. Her brother locked Zainab's house and made sure to remove everything that had to do with Ijeoma. It was as if she had never been there at all. In the following days, Zainab sank into a deep depression. The emotional and mental toll of everything that had happened was too much for her to bear. She became like a shell of the person she once was, deaf to the world, mute with sadness. Her brother, though devastated by the change in his sister, stood by her side. He took care of her, bathed her, fed her, and supported her in every way possible. He was her rock, helping her through every moment of darkness. For months, Zainab lived in a quiet haze. She barely left the house, consumed by the weight of everything she had lost. Her love, her trust, her future, everything had been taken away from her. But with time and with the unwavering support of her family, Zainab began to heal. It wasn't easy and it wasn't fast, but little by little, she started to regain her strength. Her brother never left her side, offering comfort, love, and therapy to help her rebuild herself. Slowly but surely, she began to find her voice again. 3 months passed, and Zainab, though still scarred by the events, began to feel stronger. Her family's love and support had given her the courage to go back to school and reclaim the life she had almost lost. She had been behind in studies due to everything that had happened, but with time, Zainab caught up. She threw herself into education, focusing on her future rather than the pain of the past. The journey wasn't easy, but she was determined to rebuild herself, stronger, wiser, and better than ever before. And through it all, she never heard from Ijeoma again. And as for Julian, he disappeared from her life. She never heard anything about him, leaving Zainab to pick up the pieces of her shattered heart. But she was no longer the same girl who had once placed all her trust in him. Zainab had learned the hard way that some people were never meant to be friends. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. God bless you. And please tell us what you learned from this story in the comment section. If this had happened to you or anyone you know, tell us in the comment section. Let's discuss. And please do well to like, share, and subscribe.